Hello, welcome to another immigration art video. My name is Art Serratelli, and together with Mijal, the two of us, we run the immigration law group here at Serratelli Mijal, PLLC. Mara and I do all kinds of immigration, the happy immigration, everything from visitor visas to work visas to green cards based on employment to self-sponsored green cards to family-based green cards to citizenship. And there's no charge for contacting us. We help as many people as we can free of charge. The only time you're ever going to get a bill is if you hire us to do something, like prepare a case for you. So send us an email. An email is your best bet. Send us an email or text. You could text me, and we'll get back to you. We use email like other people use the phone. So if you've got a question, we'll have an answer. Let's set up the typical situation that we encounter at our office. We get an email from either the United States citizen or the spouse of the United States citizen, and the international spouse is overseas in the home country, and the American citizen could be either in America or with the spouse in the home country. Either way, the process is the same. There's only one question to ask at the beginning, and then follow the answer step by step until the spouse who's in the home country arrives in the United States. Well, question one. What visas will allow the spouse of an American to get to the United States from overseas? They can't, the spouse, come in as a visitor, generally speaking. If you're interested in talking about this with me, let me know. Coming in as a visitor is an option, but under very, very, very limited circumstances. But typically, how can a spouse of an American enter the United States? Well, you can't visit because you want to come and live with your spouse. A visitor doesn't visit America and then live with an American spouse. That's not what a visitor does. A visitor visits and then goes home. So what do? The only two choices you really have: one, the K3 visa, or the immigrant visa. Which is better? The K3 and the K3 visa is a visa designed to get the spouse of an American into America for one purpose: to then file for a green card. So in the K3 case, you leave the airport in America, and then you still got to file for a green card. The visa just let you come in for one reason: to file for a green card. You got a whole administrative process ahead of you in America. The 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 immigrant visa, at the border, when they stamp it and you do some paperwork in the side room, At the border, when you leave the airport with your stamped immigrant visa, that is your green card. There is no more paperwork after you enter with an immigrant visa. You're in. You're a permanent resident when you take your luggage and leave the airport. Done. Although I have another video in this playlist about 4 basic ways to get a loved one to the United States, this video is about one particular thing: how a U.S. citizen gets a spouse. You're already married. The spouse of the American citizen is overseas. How do you get that spouse here? How do you do it? If you're outside of the United States, well, you're not going to get a green card outside America because we don't hand them out. We don't hand those out outside America. You'll have to go to the consulate inside the U.S. Embassy and get an immigrant visa. That's your permanent residence. The visa itself, once it's stamped at the border of the United States at the airport. Or if you're inside the United States, the international spouse is inside the United States, then we don't hand out visas in America. You don't need a visa. The visa is to get in. You're already here in some other status. So if you're already here in some other status and we don't hand out visas in America, USCIS hands out green cards, you can only get a green card as proof of your permanent residency status. So how does the immigrant visa work? Okay, number one, the international spouse is married to the American. That's the basic fact pattern. You're already married and the international spouse is in the home country. If the American is with the international spouse in the home country, then they both have to come to America at the same time. If the international spouse is in the home country separated from the American citizen spouse, well then you simply have the international spouse work with the American spouse in America, get all the paperwork done, file it, step one, with the immigration service in the United States. You file an I-130 because that's the petition that proves you are married for the purposes of initiating the immigrant visa process or green card process in America. No matter what you're doing to get permanent residency, a visa, immigrant visa outside America or a green card inside America, the I-130 is the place to start. Step one. Step two. Once the I-130 is approved, then the file from immigration is shipped to the National Visa Center. For every type of visa issued by the consulate where the paperwork originates in America, they, at the National Visa Center, put the files together, so every single file that comes out of the National Visa Center, it's located, by the way, in New Hampshire. What? The file cabinet for the worldwide embassy system is in New Hampshire? Yes. So the National Visa Center puts together the file, and every single file, no matter if it's at the U.S. Embassy in Egypt, or the U.S. Embassy in Spain, or the U.S. Embassy in Canada, or the U.S. Embassy in Iceland, they all look the same. So what have we done? In our infinite wisdom, we've inserted another bureaucracy between the embassy. The United States State Department runs the embassy and consulate. We've inserted another bureaucracy between USCIS and the embassy. That inserted bureaucracy is called the National Visa Center. It's part of the Department of State, but it's its own organization. You pay fees there to get all the file work done and pay a processing fee to get the file to the embassy. You work with the National Visa Center to prepare the file. Once it's prepared, they send it to the United States consulate at the U.S. Embassy, or it could be a standalone consulate in the home country where the international spouse is waiting. The file arrives, you pay some more fees, you fill out a form that requests the immigrant visa, and the embassy receives all that, and then the international spouse goes to the embassy for the interview. At the end of that process, you're issued an immigrant visa, and they give you an envelope. They give you a lot of papers at the embassy to show to the border agent at the airport. You show up, immigrant visa in your passport, an envelope filled with paper. The border agent at customs, he looks at the paperwork in the visa and he says, we need to get you a green card. After I let you out of the airport, you'll have a green card. This stamp on your immigrant visa, that serves as your green card temporarily, but you need a green card. So they take you to the side room, and it's very, 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 very civilized, very friendly, very nice. And you fill out paperwork in the side room with the customs border agent. You fill out paperwork that came from the embassy, and that completes the process to request the green card. So simultaneously, as you leave that airport, one, the visa in your passport is your green card. You leave the airport with your luggage, you're a permanent resident. In the parallel universe of USCIS, the paperwork from the airport goes to immigration, and they manufacture a green card for you, and they mail it to the home address of the United States citizen spouse, where the international spouse will live happily ever after in the marital home filled with love and bliss. Love and bliss. So this has just been a summary. I mean a summary. If I had to go through all the paperwork at each step of the process for the K3 and the immigrant visa, you'd want to shoot yourself. It's so much paperwork, paper, paper, paper. It's a blizzard of paper, but it's reasonable. It's reasonable, and you just do it. It's a system, and you do what's required methodically at each step in the system, and the process will eventually get you permanent residence. Give us a call, email us. Email is the best bet. If you have any questions about these steps that I've just reviewed and why I think the immigrant visa is your best bet, and under limited circumstances, if you're already married, perhaps you can come in as a visitor, but you gotta have a pattern of behavior that justifies the entry as a visitor. That's a little tricky with Trump. President Trump takes no garbage. He takes no garbage, no fooling around. They're getting very strict, very strict. He campaigned on that. This is no surprise. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. But remember, it's mostly all talk. Yeah, things are tighter. Yeah, there's less play in the system. Yeah, things are getting stricter. But if you follow the rules and do the right thing, it's just a matter of paperwork and patience. Paperwork and patience. The international spouse will live happily ever after in the marital home filled with love and bliss. Love and bliss.